Welcome back to our channel. But don't just scroll away, because what you're about to hear isn't just a business story. It's a life story. The story of a boy who grew up in pain, who watched his father suffer, who lived in broken apartments and walked through life feeling invisible. And yet, he went on to build one of the most loved brands on earth. Not just a coffee shop, but a brand that changed how the world starts its day. And no, he wasn't born rich. He didn't have connections. He didn't even found the company he would one day transform. He was laughed at, rejected, and told, "No one will ever pay $3 for a cup of coffee." He heard no not once, not 10 times, but 217 times. And still he did it. His name is Howard Schultz. This is the story of how he turned a painful childhood into a billion-dollar brand, how he transformed coffee into culture, and how rejection became the fuel that made him unstoppable. And while you listen, you're also improving your English. We use clear, emotional, beginner-friendly storytelling to help you learn new words, real-life lessons, and build fluency through stories. So grab your coffee or your dreams, because this isn't just a story you'll remember. It might be the one that changes your life. Howard Schultz was born into a world where dreams were small because life was hard. He grew up in the Bay View housing projects, a government housing complex in a tough Brooklyn neighborhood, where people lived paycheck to paycheck. His father was a delivery driver. No big job. No stability. No health insurance. One winter day, his father slipped on ice and badly injured his hip. And nothing happened. No medical help, no compensation, no support, no voice. Howard watched his strong father become broken and hopeless overnight. He saw him sit on the couch, jobless, depressed, and full of shame. No one helped. No one cared. Years later, Howard would say, "That moment changed me. I saw what it meant to be a number, not a person. I promised myself if I ever built a company, it would honor people, not crush them." He was just a boy, but that pain stayed in his soul. They were so poor that Howard used to feel embarrassed to bring friends home. He had no room of his own, no luxuries, not even enough clothes sometimes. He once said, "When you're that poor, you never forget it. Poverty leaves a shadow." But that shadow didn't kill him. It lit a fire inside him. Howard had no clear path to success, but he had one superpower: determination. He played sports, worked odd jobs, sold newspapers, and saved money. Against all odds, he became the first in his family to attend college, not Harvard, but Northern Michigan University, on a football scholarship. He worked as a bartender and a Xerox salesman to pay for school. After graduation, he joined a small kitchenware company, where his job was to sell coffee machines to local cafes. One day, while reviewing sales reports, he noticed one small client in Seattle kept ordering more machines than anyone else. That company was called Starbucks. At the time, Starbucks had only 4 stores and didn't even sell coffee to drink, just beans and equipment. But there was something about the people, the energy, the philosophy. Howard fell in love. There was something magical about Starbucks, he said. "I saw more than coffee. I saw warmth, authenticity, culture." A seed was planted. He quit his job and joined Starbucks. But he had no idea this small decision would lead to the biggest battle of his life. In 1983, Starbucks sent Howard to Milan, Italy, for a trade show. What he saw there changed everything. Espresso bars on every corner. People talking, laughing, connecting. It wasn't about coffee, it was about community. This is it, Howard thought. This is what America doesn't have. He returned to Seattle full of fire and pitched the idea to the founders. "Let's open coffee bars. Let people drink coffee here. Let's bring Italian espresso culture to America." But they said no. "We sell beans, not drinks. That's not who we are." Howard was crushed, but not defeated. If they wouldn't do it, he would. So in 1985, he quit and started his own coffee bar, Illinois Giornale, named after an Italian newspaper. But he had no money and needed investors. And what he faced was rejection, again and again. "Americans won't pay $3 for coffee. You're not Italian. It won't work here." He was rejected 217 times. But finally, 30 investors said yes, and he raised $400,000. In 1986, he opened his first coffee bar. People loved it. It wasn't just coffee. It was an experience. Then came a twist. The Starbucks founders decided to sell the company. Howard had a chance to buy the very brand that once turned him down. But he needed $3.8 million, about $10 million today. He didn't have it. So once again, he pitched, begged, convinced investors, and finally raised the money. In August 1987, Howard bought Starbucks. At the time, there were just 6 stores. No cafes. No drinks. But Howard had a vision. Starbucks will not just sell coffee. It will sell an experience, a third place between home and work. He focused on human connection, store emotion, and barista warmth. Baristas would smile, remember names, and treat customers like family. Employees weren't just workers. They were partners with healthcare, stock, and training. He obsessed over every detail: soft lighting, the smell of only coffee, comfortable counters, curated music, cozy seating, and names on cups for a personal touch. Howard changed how America viewed coffee. Lattes, cappuccinos, macchiatos, and frappuccinos became part of everyday language. Starbucks became a lifestyle. By the early 1990s, Starbucks had 165 stores and millions in revenue. He refused to franchise to protect the experience. In 1992, Starbucks went public at $17 per share with a $250 million valuation. And then came the Frappuccino, created by baristas, embraced by Howard. Launched in 1995, it earned $50 million in its first year. In 1996, Starbucks opened in Tokyo, and global expansion began. By 1999, Starbucks had over 2,500 stores and more than $1 billion in annual revenue. Howard's net worth had crossed $100 million. But with rapid growth came problems. Some stores felt cold, overcrowded, too corporate. In 2000, Howard stepped down as CEO. By 2007, Starbucks was in trouble. The financial crisis hit. Sales dropped. Stock price crashed by 80%. Howard saw the soul fading. In 2008, he returned as CEO and made bold moves, closed 900 stores, fired thousands, cut his salary to $1, paused growth, and retrained every barista. "We are not in the coffee business serving people. We are in the people business serving coffee," he declared. He restored pride, introduced mobile ordering, free Wi-Fi, and Starbucks rewards. He focused on values: fair trade, sustainability, veteran hiring, refugee support, and free education for employees. By 2010, Starbucks was reborn. Revenue hit $11.7 billion. Stock surged. Trust was restored. Howard had saved Starbucks. And in 2017, he stepped down again, this time on his own terms. From 6 stores to over 25,000 worldwide. From $5 million in revenue to over $22 billion. From a boy in public housing to a man who touched millions of lives. Howard said, "Companies are not just about profit. We're here to elevate humanity." He didn't just build a coffee company. He built a culture. A culture where people feel seen, valued, and connected. What can you learn from Howard Schultz? That your past doesn't define your future. That rejection is not the end. It's the beginning. Lead with heart. Care deeply. People matter most. Howard once said, "Dream more than others think practical. Care more than others think wise. Expect more than others think possible. And don't be afraid to be the only one who believes." He believed, and because he believed, over 100 million people walk into Starbucks every week. Not just for coffee, but for comfort, connection, and hope. So if you're still watching, know this. This isn't the end of a coffee story. It might be the beginning of your story. Don't wait. Don't quit. Don't give up. Start now. Build. Believe. Begin. Because your dream matters. Thank you for watching. Thank you for dreaming. And thank you for believing.